The end of the July means garden video. So I'm gonna show you what's been going on, what we've been harvesting. I'm gonna start fall planting, so I'm gonna start pulling out beds and replanting, that type of thing. The first bed into the garden is the potatoes with some volunteer tomatoes. I did pull volunteer tomatoes out early on, but some of them I missed, and so they're, blooming nicely. The potatoes are ready to be dug, and so when we dig potatoes, this bed will be cleaned out and then replanted. I'm thinking maybe some zucchini. We have some marigolds in the front. It's a good little bed. The soil depth is pretty low here, so what we did was we mounded the potatoes for the ultimate harvest. So far it's worked fairly well for us. The second bed are the carrots, again with some volunteer tomatoes. Last year these two beds were the tomato beds, and in the winter we have the chickens in here, so they have a good time pecking and spreading tomato seeds everywhere. So again, this bed will be harvested and then replanted, which is another reason I wanted to take this video, because actually these 3 beds will be pulled out and then replanted for fall. So carrots will be replanted, radishes will be replanted, that kind of thing. Zucchini, anything that I missed that is fast growing. And then my beautiful arch. I'm in love with the arch. The arch was awesome this year. So the arch, what's growing on the arch is loofah squash. And then we had our peas. The peas are such a great harvest. The sugar snap peas were so good this year that I froze a lot of them for winter. They're dying down now, so again, that's one that I'll clean out. But they're doing great. The loofah, this is the first time I've grown loofah. We make our own soap, and so I'm really excited to dry the loofah out and put it in the soap. The next bed we have are my tomatoes. These are cherry tomatoes, and a lot of them, like you can see, they're on there, they're there. I'm trying to be so patient and wait for them to ripen. And then our second arch, we have cucumbers on the second arch, pickle cucumbers. And so I'm gearing up to pickle these cucumbers and can them. And then another bed of tomatoes. These are the big boy tomatoes. So I have cherry and big boy. And then in the blocks are the cucumbers, and then in the back are the blocks of cucumbers. And so I have them kind of going up that side fence. And then my wheelbarrow full of weeds that I haven't put in the compost yet. And so this bed is peppers, the bell peppers, or carnival peppers, I should say. And weeds, of course. You're seeing it as is. I haven't been out here weeding. And the last bed in line, I'm super upset about, because I had a really good crop of kohlrabi, and then there was a hole in the fence and the chickens got in here, and then the chickens destroyed all but like 2 kohlrabi. And so then I replanted the sunflowers, and the sunflowers didn't do anything. And so now I'm probably just gonna end up like, it's gonna be a fall bed. We're gonna do fall plantings in it. And of course, the volunteer tomatoes over here. This was 2 years ago I put this bed into tomatoes. And so I'm still getting, 2 years later, I'm still getting tomatoes. Here, and then in the pepper bed, or in the blocks, I'm still getting tomatoes. And so then the chicken coop right here. And then over here we have our beets. And again, this is kind of the corner that I've neglected the most, because I just don't have a lot of energy to come out and weed. It's not my favorite spot, so I just pretend like it's not here. Anyway, So the beet bed, I planted them close together, and I have been harvesting the beet greens. And we've been having them for salad. We've been having them, cooking them up like collard greens. They've been okay. My husband really likes them. I think they're a little more astringent, so I'm not a huge fan. But you got my laying hens eating away over there. The good thing about, if you're unfamiliar, so the fence is a run around the garden, and they do a really good job of keeping the bugs down. Like, we don't have Japanese beetles, we don't have the squash beetles, we don't have a lot of that because the chickens really do a good job of keeping away all of my bugs. And so then you have the weeds.
Hi.
And then at this bed, we have cabbages. Just as I say that we don't have a big pest problem, you see my cabbages are like ravaged. They've been eaten on. And so, again, I haven't done anything yet. I'm kind of going with, I might not do anything. I might not. I don't know yet. It's verdict's out on that, depending on how bad they're getting eaten, which, as you can see, it's not good. But next bed is my green beans, and we started canning green beans. So we've had 3 or 4 harvests off of them. They look a little bit sad and bent over. Some look good, some not so good. But at the back, we have cucumbers, which the back cucumbers don't look as nice as the opposite side. And then on this side, we have the cucumbers too. So not as high as the loofah on this arch, but still nice. And then this is the perennial bed that I have not done a thing with. And there are strawberries in the front up here. And then in the back are the Egyptian walking onions. The Egyptian walking onions are just taking over, and it just is irritating a little bit. And then the field bindweed right here. That's also irritating that I haven't done anything with. So this bed I've kind of let go, obviously. It doesn't look so nice. And then we have our butternut squash coming up the arch on this side. And then right here, my onions are ready to be harvested, and the garlic at the back. So these are all set to go. You can see them in there. They look good. So far I harvest them as needed for cooking, but I don't past that. I'm ready to clean this bed out and then replant for fall. At the back is our watermelon. So they were supposed to go up the fence, but not. The field bindweed is kind of getting in the way there. And then this bed was radishes and lettuce. And so I cleaned that out. I did replant some squash in it, but nothing's really going on right now. And then at the back is watermelon.
Yummy strawberries.
And then this front bed was broccoli. Well, it is, because there's a broccoli and there's a broccoli. Here's a broccoli too. The thing with this bed, I have those 3 or 4 broccoli plants after 3 plantings. Really upsetting, because those 3 plantings, the first planting, we got a hard freeze after I had already put my seedlings out here. After I had started them in the greenhouse and they looked great, put them out here, they got froze off in May. And then second planting, I put them directly out here. Germination was terrible. Third planting were chickens. The silly chickens broke in through the fence and dug up basically everything. So then I went ahead with cantaloupe. So I put cantaloupe in the blocks around it. And so they're kind of growing in around my broccoli. I do have a lot of field bindweed. Like, this bed has not been weeded. Field bindweed, anytime you see the white flowers, those are field bindweed. It's terrible. Terrible. But anyway, what we're doing now is I'm going to weed it, and then I'm going to let the cantaloupe kind of fill in between the broccoli. So this is the primary garden where we get most of our veggies. And then over here is the pig yard. And since our pigs are pasture now, we planted this. And so I'm gonna give you kind of a glimpse of what's going on in here. We have 3 rows of potatoes, but they are died down now that I'm ready to dig them. And so the weeds have really taken those babies over. And then we have the 3 sisters right here and here and here and back there. So the 3 sisters are squash around the outside, corn in a circle in the middle, and then in a pole to climb. It's supposed to be beans, but I went ahead and went with sweet potato. Really, the beans I had already planted in the regular garden, so I said I wanted sweet potatoes, and so we mounded the 3 sisters up and put a nice mound for the sweet potatoes and put a pole in the middle because I said I don't see it going up the corn very much. So far, it's been successful. The light issue it's not a big one. The corn don't shade the sweet potatoes too terribly. The squash coming through the fencing, I gotta kind of tame it. And every so often I come in here and with the push mower and just mow around everything to keep everything down. The fencing is around all of those because this is our second planting of this, because our chickens, anytime they see exposed dirt, are going to come over here and dust bathe. And that's exactly what our first planting of everything was, totally eaten up by the chickens. And I was not happy about it. So the fences stay for everything. And there's already a fence around all this, but it's cattle panels. And so the chickens just go right through the cattle panels. And so once in a while I'll even find an egg in here amongst all the vegetation. And then over here, we have some volunteer. I fed the pigs pumpkins last year, pumpkins and squash. And so I think I have a cross between a pumpkin and a squash growing over here in between the button weeds and things. I gotta tell you, this garden, I should throw a picture in here. This garden looked like fantastic in June. Looked great. But now, things I've gotten a little lax on this one because the potatoes are ready to be dug. And I'm ready to just mow this off and be done with it and waiting for my corn. Waiting for the sweet corn. All right, if I was gonna show you the pig yard, I thought I would go ahead and show you the kids' garden. The pigs, this is a pig. We have a mobile pig tractor, and so we move it. And so this is what the land that the pigs dug up. And so then the kids planned out where they wanted everything to go. They drew a little map of where they picked out the seeds. They did everything. So the only downside is no weeding. And the blocks, there's a pumpkin coming in through the blocks, and this is a pumpkin. And so he's got some cantaloupe back there. And so and some green peppers. He's going through his. So I thought, with the kids, it's kind of fun for our 8-year-old and our 7-year-old to come out here and make their own. What? Your watermelon, the Jubilee watermelon, yep. So this is kind of theirs to do whatever with. This is their harvest, this is their weeding, and turnips. He's got his beautiful turnips back there. I hope you have enjoyed our garden tour. Stay tuned for more plantings and harvestings.